that's why you're seeing so much more AI being used in healthcare. I mean, in 2008, when I got my MBA, this is exactly what I wrote my thesis on, is the changing landscape of senior care because families are smaller than they ever were. And we have more solo agers because they didn't, just like me, not married, no kids. My
Hmm.
dog is great, but he's not going to be my caregiver, right? And so we're already
He'll
seeing,
love you the most, though.
he will love me. He has
Unconditional love. That's it. Case
Oh, so
closed.
we're already seeing robots in resident rooms or in
Yep.
hospital rooms. We're seeing, because that way that hopefully will keep Marvin from trying to constantly get out of bed because they can be like, Marvin, it's kind of like a fake person, but we're going to be seeing more and more of technology being incorporated into senior care and healthcare because we just have such a shortage. We also have a patient advocacy division within my company, and it's pretty common that these facilities, we join in the family's journey wherever they live and wherever they are in the decision making journey. And a lot of them also need our care advocacy services because the care in these facilities or with the home care workers is pretty atrocious because they're not properly trained always.
Hmm.
There's no one holding them accountable. The other day, I happen to have a local client, which is kind of unusual, but I have a local client and her family has me going in twice a week to check on her mom in a memory care facility. There's supposed to be 4 workers and there's only 2. And so there's 6 and 7 hour gaps of time before I
Oh
got
my
there.
God.
There's 6 and 7 hour gaps of time, almost a whole shift where their loved one was not getting any attention. And so that's why I tell families or encourage families, it's up to them to follow my recommendations, but absolutely cameras in your house and cameras in the care facility if the care facility allows it, because that's how we can also gauge. So we can say, look, Matilda hasn't been bathed for 4 days. She hasn't had anyone tend to her. And when I got there, and her incontinence brief is full of what it is,
Incontinence. Incontinence.
continents of matter.
Or
Yeah,
antimatter in this
that's
case,
a good
yes.
sound clip too. It's full of matter.
Yes.
That's not acceptable. And so, the other thing is we've got, because I know senior care, and we have weeks and months of times where there's not anybody in leadership there. This client of mine that I'm actually doing in person, most of everything I do is virtual, but since she's local, she's been there 3 years in this memory care facility. They are on their eighth, like eighth executive director, and they're on their sixth memory care wellness nurse. Right now in the building, there is no executive director and there is no wellness nurse. So who do you think is running the building? It's the wild, wild west in there. And that's why this lady went 7 hours without being which means,
Isn't there state or national
well, of
guidelines to
course there
say,
are. Of course there are. But that's my whole point, is that's why we have to plan. That's why we have to have care advocates, or take my advocacy training class if their family is going to do their own care advocacy, because these are things that are happening in senior care and no one wants to admit it. In my industry, they're like, oh, Annalee, you're always like shedding light on what's going on. And I'm like, because families need to be aware
yeah.
so that they can plan ahead and not have their parent be killed by incompetent workers.